Okay, I will put this into as many videos as as necessary, and break it up as make breaks as I have to. I have a certain feeling I want to convey. This is probably last day inside for me. It's pretty hard to put this feeling into words. I think the best thing I can do is it's a feeling, transgender stuff. What really, really interests me. I have a feeling that there is something in that female space that most females even aren't aware of. Like it's something pretty old which got lost for a lot of people. But I have a feeling it's there. And like you have two people, both drank coffee. And because they drank coffee, they are kind of on the same speed of execution. Same with hormones. Females have more time, or us. This is hard to describe because the words are not really there for that. The whole transgender thing is linguistically not built out. Like that's my job. This is a new field which is still explored, at least in this century. So where we haven't explored, people need to make up words and build that structure for what we can't explain yet. Oh, so how will I call it? I already forgot what I was talking about, and that means probably that I should go into another direction altogether. Like the feeling that I'm trying to describe is I feel like there's something ancient there. Like I talked about this reality changing stuff. And what I talked about is like the surface level stuff. The stuff when you're like in the ego mindset of societal culture, you do that stuff. It's like little shifting. Compared to what is done in society, it's still big stuff, but it's little shifting. Like if you have a good story, a good movie, a good novel, you can feel how that takes you with it. And in the same way, if you write reality, if it's written really good, it will really take you with it. And you do that by aligning yourself as an archetype, which will have certain reactions, and there's a whole thing to it. Like, it's like you are a player in the game, so you have an input way to input data into something, which has different access level, all that stuff. I'm getting sidetracked. This means there is something way more valuable than rearranging sentences. It's an overarching story where you can manifest something beautiful. and that beauty can be symbolized by the feeling of when you have a good story, by that feeling you get by a good written story, the emotional payoff. But that emotional payoff is distributed through the whole story. Like, you need that part right here to get that part right here. So it's a kind of interaction with the over-ego itself, with the individual, which are both kind of the same system. This is hard to put into words. I think because the female system is closer to the unconscious, there is a, how do I call it? An access level which has the potential to write a really, really interesting story. Like that emotional stabilizing system that is in the female system is there for a reason. Like, you don't just put that in there. Like, you have something else which is probably depending on that. It's probably the children and bringing them up, but it seems like it has some other sub-function which could be done with it, but is most girls don't do that somehow. Like, it is not known even among girls. It's like every field has subfields within it where most people don't know it, don't know stuff, and some people know that stuff. And that's exactly where I'm looking. Like, I have a feeling for those stuff. I can trust that feeling normally. Like, I can feel from this male side that there is something which is hidden. Like, that system makes, how do I say it? If you have, this is probably for people with openness to experience. A book, and there's a sentence. That sentence is a reflection of a higher archetype, of a bigger system. And there's just part of a sentence, one word, which glows. It somehow sparkles and is the reflection of the whole system, which is reflected in the whole word or arrangement of words. It's the symbol of a meme, with a meme being the smallest unit of an idea. Like a gene, it's the smallest unit of genetic material, or was supposed to be. Am I even recording? Yes, I am. Great. What was I saying? I'm kind of locked out of that. That's like, it's hard to see from this side. I can still see it glowing from this side. But the problem is, most girls I would ask for that wouldn't even know about it. I have to go and look for myself. Hmm. I think that comes down to something else. Uh, I can explain this from multiple directions. And I already forgot it. Well, mm, there is also this archetype in the female creation myth where the females made the male. These are archetypical stories. Um, and the male had the potential to restructure reality in a more direct way. He had the potential to directly influence and reuse that alchemical fire, which was kind of lacking in the female system. As much as I'm reading the female system, the female archetypal story. Like I'm missing insights on it too. Like it's a text not written for my kind of reading the text. So I'm doing my best. Where was I even going? Mm. Oh yeah, the glowing. And it feels like there is an interesting kind of magic going on. It should be possible with that. But I don't know how to describe it. It's like I can point to it, but I can't explain what it is. And this goes back onto something else, which is basically I need to be as honest and as without fear of describing things as possible. Because if I describe something and I hold something back, then the information I relay to the culture misses that part of information. Like great example is, or I read it like that. For me as a transgender person, I'm collecting all sorts of info about girls because I will need it. And it's a weird example, I know. And it's pretty specific. Like the feeling of how it feels to pee. Like, I don't care about it from a sexual standpoint or mechanical standpoint, but the essence that differentiates them. And from what I understand, it's a difference in from letting go and pushing. As far as I can understand, but the data is not good on that. And that's exactly my point. I saw someone saying like, oh, it's hard to explain. And I was standing there like, that tells me exactly nothing. It's like that person did not have the courage to relay that information in a way that represents it. He didn't make the effort to go over the line of embarrassing himself or herself in that part because the gender changing. But it's not the genders are not the point right now. It's the information degradation. Like, And I don't like that. Because I know the information will be washed out by me holding back the whole information will be washed out. Like, why am I even exploring if I can't convey it? Like, if the word to explain it does not exist, we can make metaphors, we can draw it, we can do whatever. Like, there are multiple sides to this, and I understand that. Like, you are a person, and it feels from both sides different. Like, as a person describing something, you have fear and like social stigma and pressure and whatever, and social borders. So you're trying to stay in that. But by staying in that, you lose the information that could be conveyed. I don't think I can explain this better. Like, I need to give an as exact as possible reading of what I am experiencing to make it possible for it to be understandable. Because else I will be dislocating this like two metal bars and one is spreading apart from the other. The whole flow of information and meaning. I'm getting worked up. And hot. This kind of bothers me. Like that there's already information segregation happening. And on top of that you have that. Like, there are not many people doing this till now. They are getting more, but you have the information, you could relay it. I think that's just a personal thing. But in general, this information relaying is something which I think is pretty important. Because the flow of information is important. Because I think it basically goes back onto... It just goes back onto how good the flow of the whole system, the dynamic of the whole system is. And that goes into honesty and all the good stuff. Like, if you do something and you witness yourself doing that, and then you stand there like, maybe that's not exactly it. Maybe I was wrong. And then you go then back and correct that and be like, okay, I thought that, but now I think that, and both are valid because you have two readings from two different time points, and both describe the same thing from different angles. Maybe this is right, maybe both are right, but we need all those readings. This of course can't be done like it is theoretically stable. Like, people are people. We fuck up. But and I know this is hard. The efforts to go over all these borders costs energy and courage. Bravery? Oh, bravery is something else. I always switch that word meaning up. That meaning. the meaning of that word up. Where was I going? I'm getting really hot. I think that was enough for now. I still can't describe that feeling. A feeling of possible beauty relate through the individual in the three-dimensional space with the body as a hooks which dynamically interacts with the world to manifest a chemical fire in itself. If that didn't break language too much right now, that should work. Bye! I hope that it was somehow understandable. Thank you. I press button.